I've been sitting on the floor for like 5 minutes now just trying to think of how to describe this movie, but I think the best way to describe it is just, it's simply great. I watched this movie normally, as in not in IMAX, and I kind of regret that decision because holy cow, this movie is absolute cinema and gorgeously shot. They make really good use of the fact that it's in space. There's just one particular sequence in the movie that'll stay with me for a long time because of just how clever and creative and intense it was. If you've seen the movie, then you probably know which sequence I'm talking about. It happens in the later part of the second act. You guys, this is my favorite Alien movie now. I'm pretty up to date with the Alien franchise. I've seen all of the movies except for Alien Covenant. I think the Alien franchise is one of the most unique and fascinating movie franchises that's ever existed. It's pretty one of a kind, and it gave birth to one of the most iconic fictional icons, the Xenomorphs, the facehuggers, the chestbursters. And this movie does a really good job of making you feel afraid of the monsters, every single form, while also putting an emphasis on the human characters and the android. It's such a delicate balance, but they managed to pull it off. This is my favorite Alien movie because not only are the monsters frightening, not only is the cinematography gorgeous, not only is it clever, but also because these characters are probably my favorite group of characters in the Alien franchise. I love the fact that these group of people are on the younger side. These space colonizers are the youngest in the Alien franchise, and that adds an extra layer of sadness and tragedy to the whole thing. Because, you know, with these Alien movies, you know what to expect. This movie doesn't necessarily break the formula, so to say. It's very reminiscent of the first Alien movie, like very, very reminiscent. So we know what to expect from these movies. Like, most of these characters are gonna die. But the fact that these group of people are on the younger side and are also siblings and are connected to each other in one way or another is so tragic. So I love that aspect. Everyone is connected to each other in some way. Rain and Andy are adopted siblings. Rain and Tyler are ex-lovers. Kay is Tyler's sister. Bjorn is Kay's lover. And Navarro is Bjorn's adopted sister. There are more connections between the characters, but that's the general gist of it. Fantastic group of characters. And I would say personally that they're the most, or one of the more capable group of space colonizers that we've seen in the Alien franchise. Rain is such a capable character. She's so empathetic and compassionate and human, while also super courageous and self-sacrificing. She's an excellent main character. And the rest of the crew are capable enough. Navarro, I think, was the one that was driving the ship mainly. Kay is just a really nice person and soon-to-be mother. Tyler is a very sweet guy who is also super capable of being a leader and being courageous. Andy is super useful and compassionate, but you always gotta have a goober in the group, and that goober is Bjorn. So he is the most useless and most chaotic in the group, but it's the Alien franchise, you need one, and so yeah, he's just there to cause chaos. But I like the direction they went with Bjorn because he is a goober, but he's a goober who has a purpose. He's pretty much there to set up Andy's character arc because Andy is a synthetic, aka robot, and Bjorn hates robots because a robot caused the death of Bjorn's mother. Because these synthetics / robots are very logical and analytical, and their purpose is to, most of the time, to protect humans. And if that comes at a cost of sacrificing a few to save a dozen, then the robot will take that as a logical and analytical step. And so what happened was that I think Bjorn's mom was working in the mines, and the mine was collapsing, and so a robot decided to close the gate of a mine while Bjorn's mother was still inside, so that the other miners could be protected from the collapsing. And so from that perspective, Bjorn's vendetta against synthetics is kind of understandable, but really he's just there to highlight the vendetta against synthetics, which technically makes him one of the most important characters in the film because Andy is one of the most important characters in the film. His character arc is so good. I always love the whole like existential theme of the Alien franchise. They lean a lot more into it in movies like Prometheus, and I think that's when the Alien franchise is at its best, when it leans into the sci-fi elements of it. Prometheus was such an existential movie. Humans made synthetics, but who made humans? That's kind of the central question of Prometheus. Who is God, truly? And in Alien Romulus, they tackled this idea of humanity and the human's capability to be human or inhuman, and how non-living things can sometimes be more human than humans. It kind of reminds me of Detroit Become Human. I'm saying human a lot. And it's the same thing, like, can robots, can machines have feelings? Is artificial life less valuable than a human life? What makes something human? All these things have been explored before, and I think Alien Romulus doesn't necessarily implore new answers into that field, but it just kind of re-explores it in a really effective way. And that's fine. You don't really need to give new answers for that. Just exploring it is just fascinating enough, which is why Andy is such a great character. He's so lovable, and when he does, spoiler alert, switch to that other version, I think like Rook or whatever his name was, you can see the change in him, the loss of humanity, you could say. And yeah, Andy has some of the coolest shots in this film, like when he initially gets that new chip installed in his memory or whatever. There's that moving shot of his eyes just turning white with those two symbols in his eyes, and that was so cool. And the red lighting was just beaming down on him as well to create this really scary look, and the sound design was so great for that sequence. That was so good. And in general, the action sequences and every single sequence is just so well shot. This movie is so action-packed and terrifying, but also so beautiful. I believe in the trailer they showcased a shot of like the ship flying in space, and just from that shot alone, like, you can see the quality of this movie, just how well the visual effects are done. Everything just looks so good and surreal. The monsters were also great as well. I think this movie handles the monsters the best. They are a threatening force, and they are super significant to the story, but they don't overshadow the main cast too much. There's a really good balance of focus between the humans and the monsters. I love the facehuggers. They are probably the most terrifying they've ever been in this movie. The chestbursters are also super gross and terrifying. The Xenomorphs are, of course, they're the perfect organism. Like, when you see one, it's like, well, you're dead. How can you fight against this thing? But the humans always find a way. Well, sometimes. Let's talk about the guns though. Like even the weaponry in this movie is done so well. They have that little like freezer thing, like the backpack with the freezer that they use against the Xenomorphs and facehuggers. That was a really cool equipment, but also that white gun that they use near the second half of the movie is so cool and futuristic. The way that it just latches onto the back of your arm like that automatically is just very sci-fi-y. And I love the way they highlight the ammo capacity at the side. Once again, very sci-fi-y. Costume designs were great. Set design, beautiful. I have to mention this again, but the cinematography is gorgeous. So smart, so clever. And yeah, this movie has an incredibly engaging plot, but also incredibly engaging cast of characters. I think all of the actors gave a wonderful and sincere performance, which adds to the tragedy of it all, because they seem like real people. But man, the most tragic character out of this cast has to be Navarro. Like, the movie doesn't even hide the fact that she's gonna die. The trailers don't hide it. In every single trailer, it shows a clip of her dying in one way or another. Even the freaking poster is a shot of her getting face hugged. Like, they are just not hiding the fact that Navarro isn't gonna make it, which is sad because she was a valuable member of the crew. I think she was specialized in like operating the ship, but even without her skills, Navarro was just a decent human being, so it's sad to have seen her go so fast. But what a way to die. I mean, if you've seen the trailer, they literally show you how she dies and her dying, like actually dying, which is such a baffling thing to me. And I guess this is where we can switch to my quote-unquote critiques of this movie. I don't really have any critiques. I just have like some observations that I want to share. I want to emphasize again, this is my favorite Alien movie in the franchise, but it's not perfect. I would say that the first and last 15 minutes are kind of slow. They're not boring, but compared to the middle part of the movie, which is the biggest chunk, definitely the beginning and the end are the slowest. The beginning is just kind of, setting up the whole narrative, and the ending has to pay off everything that's happened in the movie. And as I mentioned before, this movie is very reminiscent of the first Alien movie. And so you can very easily anticipate what happens in the final 15 minutes. They don't necessarily do anything new in the last part of the movie, which is fine, but the ending is definitely predictable. And if you've seen any of the Alien movies, then you can kind of know what to expect. It's truly the gift that keeps on giving. So yeah, that's one observation. The second observation, we have to go back to the trailers again. I find it so odd that they teased and in some cases straight up show character deaths in the trailer. As we've already mentioned, Navarro, we've seen her die many times in the trailers, but also, spoiler alert, we see Bjorn die in I think the second trailer, and then I think we see Tyler dying as well in the third trailer, and Kay dying. It's a pretty baffling decision to me, and I went down to the comments to see if anyone else was surprised that they showed all this, and yeah, a lot of people just were so shocked that they just ruined or spoiled all these characters' deaths. So if you haven't watched Alien Romulus somehow and you've stumbled upon this video, what I will say is watch the movie first and then watch the trailers, because the trailers are actually really well done. They're super stylish. This whole movie is just super stylish, but even like the trailers are also edited so well and with so much pizzazz. I really like it. And yeah, Alien Romulus is my type of horror film, I would say. It leans more towards sci-fi than horror. Well, no, I think the sci-fi and horror aspects are very balanced. I personally don't really like horror movies, or I don't prefer them, but the way that they do it in this film, once again, they also focus a good amount on the humans. So in that way, it's palpable and there's something else to focus on besides the monsters. So I love it. It's my favorite Alien movie in the franchise, which by the way, if you want to know my rankings, I would say the worst Alien movie in my opinion, I'm excluding Covenant because I haven't watched it, would probably have to be Alien 3, then followed by Prometheus, then followed by Aliens, Alien, and then my favorite has to be Alien Romulus. But yeah, what a homage to the Alien franchise. Alien Romulus is such a worthy predecessor to all of these movies and a very welcome addition into the franchise. But I know that a good amount of people don't feel this way. A lot of people find this movie just boring and they don't like the cinematography at all, and they think that these group of characters are not charismatic and just dumb. And that's all valid, which is why Alien Romulus may not be for you, but for me, it's great. That's all for today, space colonizers. Have you seen Alien Romulus? What did you think about it? Let me know in the comments below. I would love to read your responses. And maybe after watching this movie, we can all ask ourselves, what's our prime directive? Mine is to tell you to hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you for being here, thank you for watching, and have a wonderful day.